Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights.
Hey everybody, welcome into Going Public. I am Harry McCullough. This week, we're going to spend some time in Lafourche Parish with the Lafourche Council updates. Armand Autain is the Lafourche Parish Council Chairman. Bo Melvin is the Vice Chairman for Lafourche Parish. So, guys, thanks so much for being with us. You have had a meeting last Tuesday. The next one will come up on Tuesday, the 23rd of April. You want to fill us in on what's been going on a little bit with that, Armand?
Yeah, sure. First off, thank you to HCV10 to allow us to come and discuss some of the happenings going on in Lafourche Parish. So at our last meeting, it was a pretty full agenda, pretty thick agenda. We had a lot of ordinances in which we just some kind of cleanup where there was a lot of agreements we had to put in place between Lafourche Parish government and the North Lafourche Levee and Drainage District regarding pump stations and who runs them and takes care of them, manages them, et cetera. So that took up a pretty good bit of our meeting. And then we also had some discussions for quite a while. We had some presentations regarding an agreement where we're going to provide some assistance to Lafourche Arc. So another important group that takes care of a certain group of people in our community and just lacking funding like everybody else these days. So the parish has stepped up and is going to provide some assistance. Now, I will say there's been spinoff of that, and there was discussions actually that night whereby now the Council on Aging is also looking for some assistance. There used to be a program called Lafourche on the Move, and even before that, the recreation districts used to provide some money to the Council on Aging for them to provide programs for the elderly, for their bingos and for different little activities that they do, I guess. So the Lafourche on the Move program has kind of died out. The funding is now gone. So there's discussion now as we speak with the administration and the council, and I think we're going to have a really supportive council to maybe do a supplemental and put some funding in place for
have a millage in place just for donated to that, dedicated to that? So
there's a millage that it's a pretty broad millage. So there's a funding source, and one of them in there would allow for us to put some money into Council on Aging. But the idea right now is to try to get a supplemental done to see what funding is available right now, try to do a supplemental for this year, get it approved, gets them some funding in the short term, and then hopefully going forward, we'll as a council and as administration, we'll pay attention to make sure that we have some funding in the budget. Once again, it was provided before by Lafourche on the Move. It's not there anymore, our council is very strong about providing assistance to this particular group. Ms. Charlene Rodriguez she's one of the persons that attends nearly every single meeting that we have. For the 9 years I've been on the council, she's there almost every single meeting. She's very passionate about her programs for the elderly, and this is one where I think it's an easy fix. It's not going to be really expensive for us. So I think we can do something.
Do they have Meals on Wheels in Lafourche?
So they have had it post Ida. Of course, every program has been impacted to what degree. I'm not sure, but one of the things that happened with Lafourche Council on Aging is that they were displaced. So their original location, which was in the Matthews Government Building, when part of the building had to be moved, they had to move DPW into Lafourche Council on Aging, so they had to find them a place to stay, and so that just kind of impacted all the programs, and they're still struggling today to try to come up with a really good place, perhaps building their own facility. The only other big thing on our last meeting is we did have Fire District number 3 come on site and to basically advocate for a millage proposal that they have on the ballot. Early voting is going on right now, and that election is next Saturday, the 27th. Very, very important millage for them. Post Ida, I think they're down. Did he say it was like $3 million in their budget? So it's very difficult. They're a combination fire department. They provide their services are provided by a combination of career and volunteer members. And I can tell you, as a fire chief, it's very, very difficult to get volunteers these days. And it's not getting easier. It's getting rougher and rougher. And there's going to come a point in time where every fire department is going to have some career employees in it. It's unfortunate, but it's the way of the times. I mean, all the nonprofits are under the same burden right now, trying to find members. So that was a pretty important one from our last meeting as well.
So, fire, well, obviously tradition with the volunteer fire department in Tibido, it always seems like you always have enough people there. But
that's right.
You do have the Firemen's Fair that's coming up, which will be a big part of it, right?
Yes. I know that we're very excited about that because, of course, during COVID, we had some skips, hops, and jumps. And so we're very happy to be back. And, of course, I'm with Bowie Fire Company. And so we have, crawfish pies, shrimp stew, crawfish pies, and also shrimp Creole and shrimp spaghetti. And we're just happy. We hope we're having good weather. We're excited for the parade. And it's always a good time in Tibido. It's a 100-year-old tradition, and we're ready to have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I know, just going to pivot real quick. I know that we do have some things coming up. We saw with the state legislature, who's in session right now, and H. Bill 273 is proposing term limits for the whole state in regard to police juries, parish councils, parish presidents, and mayors. And Lafourche, like Terrebonne, and like the city of Tibido as well, we already put in term limits. So we're interested to see where this is going to go because it would supersede what we already have in place. So I don't mind term limits. Myself and Corey Paraloo, former councilman, co-sponsored that, sent it to the people, and Lafourche Parish citizens overwhelmingly passed it. So I am a term limits guy. It's just very interesting because in Lafourche we have a 3 and 2, 3 for the parish council, 2 for the parish president. The state's proposing a 3 and 3, and there's some suggestions and some movement. Tomorrow is a committee in Baton Rouge where they're going to discuss how it's going to play out, because I know that it depends if you've been there 3 terms already or if you're on your 4th or whatnot, if you're elected already, if you're going to be elected as of 2025 January. So there's still some movement, and it's just going to be very interesting because it might affect Orman and I directly because we've been on the council for this is our 3rd term. However, the term limits we put in to send to the people that they've approved didn't start till our 2nd term. We didn't make it retroactive. Otherwise, one member would have to get up and go home right there, and we didn't make it concurrent. So again, it took some wrangling because Lafourche Parish had never had term limits before. So,
but interesting, you may pick up for the executive branch. They may pick up another term, and a lot of people have 2 terms. And
yes,
they may pick up.
Correct. So yeah, it's interesting, So.
Yeah, and it gets really interesting, and sometimes you can actually bind yourself even more on a local government scale. So is it really going to be the state trumps it? If the state says it's 3 and 3, but if a local jurisdiction elects 2 and 2 or 1 and 1, which one supersedes which? Normally it's the more stringent on the local, provided you not violate. So anyway, it's going to be a little interesting to see. I did want to mention about our next council meeting, which will be coming up on the 23rd. Very, very short agenda. It's where there's only going to be about 3 ordinances and maybe 12 resolutions. Only one controversial item, which is a variance on hydrants, which we get regularly. We don't like them. And this will be one not recommended by the Planning Commission, so it'll be one even more so. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because I would like to let my friend Bo talk about is we have River Birch is going to be, I don't know if you remember that, they're going to be visiting at the request of Councilman Melvin. So if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So we have partners in government who are either our partners from government to government or our vendors. And we, of course, want to get along for the betterment of the people who we represent. Because at the end of the day, the chairs we sit in are the people's chairs, not ours. Okay. Sure. And they're very temporary. Now then, that being said, I know that for the most part, my first 2 terms, we didn't have many hiccups at River Birch, and I think they're a good company, and they provide a good deal because they have their own landfill. I just know that based on calls I was receiving, and it's different things. Sometimes it might not even been nothing with them. It was a low line from the cable company or whatnot that got brought down, or garbage cans, just being put in the hoppers and things like that is what I'm told. So I'll just send it up the chain. But I know that, of course, we're on the line and people want to see some action. So all I'm doing is trying to get a meeting of the minds to see if River Birch is coming over, which they are, and I'm glad, because I like dialogue, and the public needs to see that there's some dialogue, because I'm not one that likes to just have meetings behind closed doors, even though we're making progress.
Sure.
The people need to see it. I'm very transparent. So I like that they're coming over. We're going to get some questions answered. And look, I know they're growing their company because they got in the trucks, and they're not just a landfill. But at the end of the day, you know, the parish is paying money and the taxpayer money to have a service. And look, if there's hiccups, it's not going to be a perfect world. I get it. But I know it just seemed like there was a few more extra hiccups this time around, at least this year for me, since Ida especially. But I know in Mardi Gras, hey, look, you're missing a few. You're missing a date. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about missing some sections here and there that I have questions about.
So are they going to have a representative who will field questions from the constituency? I mean, people can come in and talk on the microphone?
Well, I mean, if somebody wants to ask a question, we can have questions from the public. But it's mainly going to be a dialogue between the council and them. And look, we welcome, and I'm glad they're coming, and they provide a good service. So it's not going to be a beat up, knock down, drag out session by any means. It's dialogue session to say, hey, what do y'all need us to do, or what we need y'all to do? Right?
How long is your contract? Because those are like utilities,
think
right? I
it's
mean,
this year.
they get it by themselves, right?
I believe it's this year. It's the contract comes
They
up.
better show up.
So it's time. And look, I'll agree with both. You know, the complaint volume is skyrocketed in the last several months. Before that, it really wasn't a whole lot of complaints. And you know, when I've been able to talk to some of their workers, employees that just happened to be passing, and one of them had dumped a little bit of garbage out, so he actually got out and was picking up. So I stopped to thank him. Like, that's pretty impressive, because most of them just would drive off. And he told me he was super nervous because it was his second day on the job and he was by himself. So that's a little interesting that, you know, I don't know if you're growing so fast and that's why we're getting so many complaints, because this poor fella, he's only on his second day and he's kind of thrown to the wolves by himself, nobody there with him. And he's just really nervous about how to handle the cans. Although I was very appreciative that he got out, and that's why I want to acknowledge him for that. But it just lets us know that, you know, there's some changes going on there, and we just want to make sure that you know, we're getting the best for our constituency, and I think it's a long overdue time for them to come and visit with us and just let us know what's going on in the organization.
It's a tough time for that business, right? Because a lot of times they can't find employees, they don't have people to run the trucks. We've seen that in New Orleans, where some of those people had to cut back to one time. So
especially when you try to grow.
yeah. So let's take a break. We have more with Lafourche Parish. We come back right here on Going Public.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Going Public. Harry McCullough here. We spent some time with Bo Melvin, of course, the vice chairman, and Armand Otain, the chairman of Lafourche Parish Council. So guys, thanks so much for being with us. Bo, you had mentioned that House Bill 273. You didn't mention DAs, sheriffs, and judges with that, did you?
Well, from what I read on the email I got, I think it's just council members, mayors, and parish presidents that are on a term limit block for that.
I see. So it's not everybody.
No, sir, not that I saw in the email.
Okay. I was just, I hadn't heard that, but yeah, it would be interesting to see who takes precedent, whether it be the local or not. Speaking of just working together, though, Lafourche and Terrebonne really came together on a good project to make some water move recently, right?
Absolutely, yes, sir. So St. Louis Bayou, which comes out of Tibido from near Acadia Woods by the Ridgefield Vet Clinic, and it drains all the way to the 1B1. And for the most part, there have been a few hiccups, but it's flowing, okay? However, due to the drought, they had a lot of cattails, or as we say, Jean Coupons. They all grew up, silted over. And when we got that 8 or so inches in, late February, early March, it really became a problem because the water was not draining at all off of Percy or around there. So they called me, and I called John Amity, who was a huge help, Councilman Amity, along with Jason Bergeron, the parish president. and their DPW got with our levee district, with Wayne Bourgeois, North Lafourche Levee District, and really did a lot to move the needle, simply because you're talking about cleaning a lot of area, and also you needed to put some marsh buggies in the swamp, and one of the marsh buggies through a track. You can't ever have it just done real easy, right? So in any event, that got done. So I'm very happy, and I'm thankful for Terrebonne and the North Lafourche Levee District that we got that done. And there's still, some maintenance issues, but again, the water flowed a lot better with this last rain we got.
Yeah, and look, we hadn't had that much rain recently, but we know we're going to, right? We're gonna, and we don't need to have water stuck where it can't flow anywhere. Even when it comes from Zachary and St. Francisville, it's still got to go through Baton Rouge. It's got to go through here. It all ends up down here. We drain all those areas coming through here. So we got to keep it going. Fête du Mont, that's coming up, right?
Hey, La Fête du Mont, the Lockport Food Festival this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Typical Bayou festival with great Cajun food, free, great music throughout the whole weekend. We have a great band lineup. Thankful to my festival director, Mr. Wayne Bourgeois. Friday night we start out with Epic. We end it with the Kings of Neon, a very well liked group. So we hope to have a big crowd out.
Kings of Neon?
Kings of Neon.
Not Leon.
Yeah, Neon. Yeah, they played for the Jazz Fest actually. So a very, very popular group. Saturday morning we start at 10:30 with Patula, followed by Freddie Rodrigue and the One Man Band, and then another local group that's really come alive as of the last few years, which is Shorts in December. They're going to play from 5 to 8 p.m. for us before we hit the flow with Contraflow. They've been playing for us for probably 10 plus years. This festival is a 27-year, we're on our 27th year of existence. So it's been around for a long time. Well, let me mention the Sunday at 9 a.m. we're going to have a mass under the pavilion. At 10:30 we have Ted Durr playing, and then at 3 p.m. the J.P. Bourgeois Band, another local group that everybody's kind of taking a liking to. Of course, we'll have auctions in between those times. But what I wanted to mention was the groups that this benefits. It is 5 nonprofits from the local area: Lockport Volunteer Fire Department, Rotary Club of Lockport, the KCs, the Lafourche Folk Life and Heritage Museum, and then the Lockport Carnival Club. So it's 5 nonprofits that all put right back into the community. So everything that someone does come out there and spend, which once again, I'll say it again, the music is free. So at the intersection of Highway 90 and LA1, if you want to come sit down, drink a bottle of water, and just listen to music all weekend, you can do that. It won't cost you anything but that bottle of water. But for those who do want to spend some money, just know that your money is going right back into the community. So it's a great fundraiser for these particular organizations. Of course, like most festivals, we're going to have a big carnival ride group there. The one we've always had, which is Max. He always brings some really good rides that the kids really enjoy. We're going to have to pay some pay one price braces as we normally do. The weather's looking to be phenomenal Friday and Saturday, so it's we're hoping for really good things, large crowds, and hoping to have a really good time and really get some funding for these groups.
Maybe it's our festivals and all, but Lafourche seems like a great incubator for that kind of music, that swamp pop, those types of bands. We seem like we produce a lot of those that are really entertaining groups.
Absolutely. And look, most of these festivals are spinoffs from when the diocese, had their festivals to provide funding for the Catholic school systems, essentially. And then, at some point in time, 25 to 30 years ago, they decided to disband that. And a lot of groups picked up the festivals and kept running with them. This is one of them. This Lockport Food Festival was one that was at the Holy Savior Church grounds. Simply moved it across, not even across the street, basically just adjacent to it, and kept the festival rolling. And actually at one point even the PTA for Holy Savior worked the festivals and whatnot. So it's just a long-standing great festival group, and we're hoping to see a lot of people out. Thankful to our sponsors. We have great sponsors.
We're the birthplace of swamp pop.
That's right.
We got to be right.
That's right. That's right.
So also now you had a couple other things you want to talk about.
Yes, sir.
You got the pontoon bridge, right?
Yeah, so the Valentine Pontoon Bridge, a lot of activity going on there. A lot of people are seeing activity and getting really pumped up about the fact that there may be a bridge on the horizon. Unfortunately,
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's the fall of 2016 to be specific. So I work right there, and as a fire chief in that area, I missed that bridge. When I have to shut Highway 308 down for our own safety to work there, it's pretty tough for the commuters, businesses. Some businesses in that little route, they completely shut down. Nobody comes to them. So it can be really difficult, but they're pulling the old structure out right now. They're going to finish this week. The divers, I think, are going to go in at the end of this week or beginning of next week to make sure there's no other underwater obstructions. And the demo part is done. So the parish kind of decided, let's get this out while we continue to pursue funding. So what happened is the state put up money, the parish put up money. We got a federal grant that we started working towards, and then that grant dictated us to do a bunch of things, and it's made the cost skyrocket. So now we're reevaluating that. And to be honest, the reason I want to mention is that really we probably won't have much more activity to the end of this year. It's going to take our engineers that long to try to sort through and decide whether should we stay on this particular grant path or maybe go down another path. So we are in constant communication with our state delegation regarding it. This was a project that Reggie Bagala, he was elected state rep. This was one of his signature projects that he took off on, and then of course COVID hit and he passed away from COVID. Unfortunately, it certainly slowed the progress down, but he got us on the map. He's the one that kind of got this all kicked off. So still hope to have a bridge soon. People say, well, another pontoon bridge, why are you not going with a lift span or something? Well, the price difference for everyone to know is about $6 million versus about $30 million. Yeah. So it's a huge price difference, and it's really tough to come up with funding for bridges. Yeah. But there's still activity going on, so we're going to keep trying to chip away at it, and hopefully at some point we'll get to having another bridge here.
Yeah, absolutely. We the people from the regional, from the Bayou region.
Yes, from the Bayou region. So they meet in Houma and Tibido every other month, and they really have great speakers, and it's about issues that folks are concerned about, whether it's local or national. And this Thursday, this may not air in time, but again, their functions they usually meet on Thursdays. It's very good every other month, home in Tibido. This week it's about personal preparation and security. And I know that Sheriff Tim from Houma is going to be there. Chief Brian is going to be there from Tibido, and some other folks are going to be giving some talks on some information that maybe you don't really hear everything on the news, and some of these people are national experts who have given talks, and they've done a lot to it's information, which is good. Also, I just wanted to mention briefly that there's going to be a new boat launch opening up on Highway 308 in just north of the St. Charles area, around Melodia Plantation. And I know that the Freshwater District wanted some access to the bayou around there. Public will have access. It's supposed to be a ribbon cutting towards in about a week or two.
A launch by Lafourche?
Yes, sir.
I got you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
So, yeah, you can go up and down, and, they use that bayou for sure. And in a community center, right?
Yeah. So, we had a 30-year project, or 30 years of working towards getting a community center in the Central Lafourche community. And we were successful a few years ago to open the doors to that community center, which was a huge boon at the post-Hurricane Ida. For those, even some of the schools south, as down in Galliano, etc., they have to use this facility for all of their high school athletics, or even the junior highs or middle schools rather. So it's been a blessing to have this community center. It was some CDBG funds originally from the Charlotte administration, and then the Cantrell administration kept it going, and then ultimately now, of course, we're in the Chesso administration. So it's been a 3 administration process, but we're in phase 2. Phase 2 is there was a big pond that was dug, threw some dirt to let it dry, and in April, in 1 month, is going to go out to bid for phase 2. And phase 2 is basically leveling all the dirt, building fields, and putting fencing down. So this is going to be for a couple of soccer fields that also serve as maybe flag football fields, and a couple of ball fields. So we're very, very excited about this coming about. It is going to go out to bid in April. They're going to award the bid in May. It's going to proceed to construction in June. Substantial completion is hoped by October. Wow. And this is phase 2, so it's going to be a lot of activity. It's a long time coming. We're looking really, really forward to it. And there is another phase, they're all built, and that last phase will be the electricals with lighting and things, and walking trail, things along those lines. But very, very excited about all that activity going on at that community center.
Yeah, a lot going on. So also an election on Saturday, right? So Saturday 27th would be election. Currently you can do early voting, right?
That's right. That's
And
right.
mostly be taxes and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and Bo can attest to what he has going on in his district.
Well, it's a pretty almost parish-wide millage for the water district number 1. And I know down the bayou, I think it's in Daniel's district, there's a fire district tax down there. They're trying to raise some money for the fire department. I know
That's right. Right.
Spring, yeah,
Millage
spring is most of the time we see these types.
That's right. Millage to fill the hose, and this fire department does a lot more than just fighting fires, rescues, and all kind of community service events.
All right, Armand, Bo, thank you guys so much for filling us in this week.
Very good.
That's
Thanks.
Going Public. I'm Harry McCullough. We'll see you guys next time.